Okay, a lot of you guys have been asking me what I think about the economy in terms of the financials this year and whether astrologically it looks like there's going to be a crash or any major movement. Now, last year we had Jupiter conjunct the North Node in Taurus. The last time this happened was in the spring before the Wall Street crash in the October. So usually crashes happen in October. They don't happen at other times of the year. So it's highly likely that if anything happens, it's going to be this October. But last October, unlike 1929, it didn't happen 6 months after the Jupiter conjunction of Taurus in the North Node in Taurus. So I have a rather unusual take now in what I think is going on with the financials. I think that during COVID, when everyone was paid to stay at home, when we had this enormous quantitative easing, when there was very little going on in the economies worldwide, there was already a financial reset. That's why there's been no crash, because without people realizing, there already was an entire reset during that time in 2020 and 2021. And that's why I don't think we will have the big crash. Things will slowly deteriorate and we will notice a difference in terms of higher interest rates, more inflation. But all the economic rules have been broken now. The way everything's moving together in terms of house prices, inflation, nothing's following the previous rules. So we've moved into a whole new paradigm. I think that shift already took place in 2000 when everyone wasn't looking because we were all focused on COVID. Not really sure how they pulled it off or what exactly they've done. But I think because of it, we've all been shifted. We've sleptwalked into a brand new financial paradigm. We've kind of subverted, we've kind of missed the big crash that we all would have noticed, but there's been another kind of crash that's been almost imperceivable, but will end up altering the entire way money works. But we said with Uranus in Taurus, there was bound to be an entire alteration in the world financial system. One of the things we are waiting for is what happens with the dollar. I mentioned that recently the dollar had dropped from sort of 63% in terms of world trade down to, I said 53, it's 57-ish, right? This is because more and more currency trading, oil trading, whatever is being done in other currencies like the yuan. And because of the sanctions on Russia, that's also almost worked to push more currency trading, more global trade into different currencies. So something else I wanted to talk to you about today was Usery. Now, a lot of people in the alternate media see usury as the huge bogey bear, and it's all about usury. Usury is the problem. It's because the church bans usury and Islam bans usury and blah, blah, blah. We wouldn't have the lifestyle we have without usury. A certain amount of it is actually a good thing, and it makes total sense because money has a value. You wouldn't lend a car out for no money, hire a car for nothing, rent out a house for nothing. Why would you loan your money for nothing? And it benefits savers, and it creates a incentive for people to save. So people in their retirement, saving for their retirement, people who've got a bit extra money, can lend it to other people at interest. So it benefits younger generations who haven't yet accumulated wealth. So there is a benefit, both sides, if it's done properly, if it's not out of control, and if there's a free market in lending the money, which there hasn't been. So in of itself, it's not a bad thing. It makes total sense for the time value of money, for the opportunity cost of lending money. So it does make sense. It's not like a thing which is 100% bad. And we just would you ever really afford something without that facility? Everyone's used that facility, whether for mortgage or credit cards. It makes a lot of sense. Some people, very disciplined, like to do without it. Great. But a lot of people do successfully pay off a mortgage and end up, owning their own house. So beware of falling into the, usury is a total evil trap, because what else is the alternative? Being a perpetual renter, right? Do you want that? Isn't it always better to be paying off a house where even if you are paying interest than just renting and your money goes into the abyss of the landlord's pocket? No, I don't think so. World Economic Forum, it really doesn't have the power people are giving it credit for. It's a think tank. Klaus Schwab was spotted at Harvard by Kissinger. He was an intellectual. They decided to use him as a vehicle for these ideas. And the whole concept behind the World Economic Forum is based on the principle of critical theory. Critical theory comes from the Frankfurt School, right? And it's all based strongly on Marxism. Everyone in the Frankfurt School was a raving Marxist. So it's all about critical theory. Critical theory is all about shifting us into a brand new paradigm, deconstructing everything we've known and creating this new reality. It runs through critical race theory. There's critical economic theory. It runs through the whole thing. The World Economic Forum itself is just a think tank to draw in global leaders and influencers and indoctrinate them with this sort of stuff, and then send these business leaders out into the world, hopefully with these ideas buzzing in their head. I think it's also manipulative because Klaus Schwab being a German and his parents having been involved in National Socialism, because they always like to circle back to the Nazis, Germany, the Nazis, and to have him up there as such a archetypical bad guy, and he's German, it just gives them the ideal opportunity to say, the World Economic Forum, that Nazis, and then we distract from the real problem, which is, the Frankfurt School, Bolshevism, Marxism, and again, people are clouded with the big baddie of Nazism, which is not really what it's all about at all. It's another kind of distraction technique. Okay, I was also wanting to talk about, democracy. People said one of the big problems in the Soviet Union was that it was actually too much democracy. Now, you wouldn't think too much democracy can be a bad thing, but if the average person is misinformed by a malevolent media, how can you ever have democracy? We have a situation right now where the media cannot be trusted, but where most people still are reliant on them. They program to accept what people in smart suits in fancy studios say. And people will tend to always believe people who already have a profile. That's why so many people want to listen to Russell Brand. Even though he said nothing about anything important until very, very recently, they still kind of look to him, look to the Tucker Carlsons. People would always rather defer to them to get their kind of opinions or talking points from them rather than people who are more on the periphery. But like I say, everything's about being decentralized. So the more on the periphery someone is, the more likely they are to say something that is relevant. Now, the big problem Alex Jones has got is you can be a victim of your own success in the alternate media. The bigger you are, the more you need money, the more you need platforms, the more you need satellite links, the more you're selling product. And you can't have product without supply chains, without payment processes. You can't have a sophisticated website without relying on numerous people for your technology. And once you're so reliant on all these other systems, you lose your ability to speak freely because they can be shut off like that and you're finished and taken down. So again, my whole theme for success in this struggle is that it always has to be decentralization, more independence, and small. The smaller you are, the more you can really make an impact because you're less likely to come on the radar and to be targeted. Watching a lot on the truckers' protest stroke farmers' protest in Germany, and I'm very skeptical that's going to come to anything. It seems like a great initiative, seems positive on the surface, but I'm strongly believing that it's just a bit of like the Canadian one. It looks hopeful, it looks exciting, but will it actually lead to any fundamental and useful change? Just one more thing to end off, something that was noticed by Max Eigen and mentioned on his show. In the huge list of side effects for a certain thing, particularly the Pfizer one of the side effects they mention is the experience of deja vu. Isn't that odd? Of all things in the world, deja vu is a side effect. Who even knows what is deja vu? Why is it a side effect? Maybe we should be looking into it. Take care, everybody.